delighted to be here today with Triple H, the WWE legend and genius behind the NXT brand that we see today, ahead of a massive show here tonight in Cardiff, Takeover, the second ever Takeover. Wednesday nights just got a bit more interesting, didn't they? We're talking about, you said on the conference call yesterday, you wouldn't trade your roster for anybody. You've put on tremendous shows this year. You're in competition with AEW tonight, on next Wednesday. Do you think the quality of the takeovers that we've seen and the bar that we've set, the quality we're going to get tonight, that gives you the confidence, among other things, to say things like that yesterday?
Yeah, look, to me, it's, I don't know, people can say what they want, how they want. I don't approach it as, well, it's a competitive thing or it's anything else. To me, it's we just put on our shows. I'm going to put on the shows when we need to put them on, in the best places we need to put them on, in the right time slots for them, and with the best talent that I can find in the world, and that we have, and we already have them. I'm confident in that. When I look across the board at NXT in general and at NXT in the UK here, we've put on show after show of the highest caliber, not one match or two matches, the entire shows. So I have no doubt, and I have no, for me, it's not competitive against anyone or anything. I just want to put on the best show possible for fans of NXT, for the fans here in Cardiff tonight, for the fans around the world. That's all this is. And it's funny because a few years ago we were doing this and doing the same kind of thing and wowing people, and there wasn't competitors out there. Yeah. And so I guess we were just doing it for competitive reasons then, to compete with ourselves.
Yeah. I was in Blackpool myself. You set the bar tremendously high with that first takeover. I remember you saying on a conference call that NXT UK was one of the top shows on the network. Is that still the case? And can UK fans get excited that things are moving in the right direction from WWE's perspective?
Absolutely. Look, it takes time to build these things out right, and it's not just about looking at the UK or individual markets, it's about looking at a global presence. NXT UK is, I believe, the second most popular show, or the second most popular thing on the WWE network, and that was behind NXT in the US. With that moving to USA Network and having a 24-hour later re-air on the network, changes a little bit. I also expect that opportunity on the USA Network in the States to resonate here as well. And for the talent that are here, every single person that's here, I want to use that platform as well to continue to grow these brands, to continue to grow the presence in the UK, to show it to the world. Take this NXT UK brand, showcase it in a different place all over the globe. Make sure it has as many eyeballs on it as possible so that it can continue to grow, and then we'll see where that goes from there. And as this grows out, I plan, I know the WWE plans to do more takeovers here, UK based NXT takeovers in 20. We're going to add more to that scheduling, and there's a lot more to come. So it's bit by bit. I don't want to overwhelm everything too much, but it's bit by bit, and continue to grow it so that every bit of growth, every next step you take is successful.
For me, just clocking on to what you said there about NXT being the two top things, just that umbrella, the two shows. You've achieved a hell of a lot in your career. That must be a hell of a thrill to know that the thing that you've helped create and you cultivate yourself is doing that well.
It's awesome. Yeah, I mean, this opportunity here, the opportunity in the U.S., Shawn Michaels and I talk about this all the time, at this point in our careers, to be able to sit side by side still working together 25 years later and create something like this and help it grow, to be able to see these talent that are here and that you'll see tonight from, Walter, Mark Andrews, Tony Storm and Kaylee Ray, and just everybody that is here and a part of this, to see them grow and have that opportunity with the same passion in their eyes that we had when we were starting. Yeah. To see that passion and know what that feels like, to go out there and just, blow the roof off this place and know that they're growing something and they're on the ground floor of this greatness of this brand and what they're doing here, and kind of they're going to be seen as founding founding fathers, so to speak, of this British wrestling empire that is building, that it becomes a global empire. So it's an exciting time for them, but for Sean and I think it's probably some of the most fun we've ever had in our careers. And that's saying a lot.
Yeah, that really is.
Yeah.
Clear up a couple of things with NXT moving to the USA Network. Dave Meltzer has been speculating again that he thinks Vince will have to get involved because it's going to be on USA, but to me that doesn't really make sense from what you've done thus far with it, and it's not like you don't have network experience yourself.
Let's be honest, there's a lot of things that people like Dave say that don't make sense. You know, because they don't approach things from a business standpoint. Put it this way, we're going to be live on Mondays, we're going to be live on Wednesdays, we're going to be live on Fridays. There's so much bandwidth to go, and the truth is, you know, it's just funny, the small-mindedness of it, that people don't give Vince credit for being the businessman that he is, and they you know, they speculation and rumors, and it's easy when, you know, people leave or they go their own way, to fan and to just jump on to speculation and rumors, and a lot of it is that's what it just is. So when people talk about him as a businessman, there's so many crazy misconceptions. The truth is, all of what we're doing right now, this business, is here because of him, right? They took a failing industry, so to speak, in a period of time in the 80s and turned it into a global phenomenon. When nobody else had the foresight to do it, all the things that he's done and where it is today. And, you know, people look at sometimes where it is today, and then you hear them say negative things, and I'm like, oh, really? Because we just signed like $1 billion deals with Fox and USA. Like, I'm not sure it's crumbling. And he's also smart enough to understand the things that we do and where they go and how and the pieces of it. If you're asking the simple term and answers, he's not involved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, he's gonna have, you know, some say in some things as far as, like, you know, the brand sits and the marketing of it within USA and all that stuff, and clearly whatever he wants to do, you know, at the end of the day also. But the truth is, at this point in time, he has basically just said, go make this thing a success. That's what he told me in the beginning, go make this thing a success. And then, you know, we pick up the phone with each other every now and then. We see each other all the time, but like, and how's it going? Going good? Excellent, great. And we move on, and you know, that's where it's at. But I always want to speculate on just craziness and things. You know, it's a lot of it is just silliness. If you love NXT, it's just going to get bigger.
Yeah.
There's going to be more of it. 2 hours gives us more opportunity. I look at the roster. I look at the roster here. I look at the talent pool we have. I said it yesterday on the call. I wouldn't trade our roster. There's nobody out there that I go, oh man, if I could have that. You know, nobody. I don't care who that is, and they can make claims to being the greatest in the world in their 4 matches a year that they have that are good. Great. I wouldn't trade you.
Yeah.
And that's just my opinion. And that doesn't, I'm not saying that's right or wrong, it's just what it is. I'll put our roster up against anybody, I'll put our talent up against the world. But that isn't the point. The point is to go out here, this place is sold out. There's going to be a lot of really passionate fans, and I got a talent roster that's passionate about going in here, blowing the roof off the place, and showing the whole world that they're NXT, and that this is theirs. So that's the point of all of this, and we're going to continue to do that. They're just going to be able to do it with USA Network. They're going to be able to do it in a bigger way with more opportunities for everybody.
Yeah, and that brings me to my second point on those reports, really, that, you know, it came out this week that, oh, WWE want Enzo Amore and Big Cass again.
Yeah. Which I immediately then had our PR go like, yeah, no, zero interest.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I mean. NXT has, I think, in the States, you have like 100 talent anyway. So even though you're building a more 2-hour brand,
I have 104. I have 104 or 110 talent, depending on the moment, at the Performance Center in the U.S. Another 45, 50 here, plus, you know, some development stuff around the world.
Exactly.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried, and you know, the interesting thing about today's world is, if you call up someone willing to believe anything, you can tell them anything you want in order to try to drum up business for yourself.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Enzo. I'm sure spreading rumors has worked well for him. I just don't want to be a part of it.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. Do you think that sometimes veterans should be paired with the younger workers to help bring them on, and that, or is veteran and veterans working together counterproductive sometimes?
It's tough. So, like, I have young guys talking to me all the time about that, and like as I said, bringing you up and saying, hey, what if? But the truth is, if you're uncomfortable, we're all aware of where we're at and what we can do and can't do, for the most part, right? You don't want to hold a guy back. You don't want him to shift his style down to yours. You don't want to, and when you look at what they do, you go, yeah, I can't hang and do that anymore, clearly, or probably never could have. The business has changed. You know? It always grows exponentially, over time, and the physicality of it. So, it's tough. Sometimes you say, well, you put the veteran in there with the younger guy, but then you're just kind of holding him back or whatever, and it doesn't always work out. And look, people can say what they want to say about Saudi Arabia or the Middle East and the match between Taker and Goldberg and stuff. My hat's off to both of them. It was a bad situation. I can attest to it, that it was about 105 and 100% humidity at ringside, and even Randy and I, when we were talking about it afterwards, like moments where I wanted to change gears.
Right, it's a great match in my opinion, by the way.
Well, and I appreciate that, but there's things that you want to do differently, then you go I want to change gears, but I just cannot. You know what I mean? It's humanly impossible. In this moment, it was like wrestling in a sauna. It really was, and there were those moments where, when you step out of a sauna, where all of a sudden you're like, well, I see something, I'm lightheaded, I might pass out. It was so ridiculously hot, and you put pressure on yourself, but everything else on top of that, it's a lot. So, it's a funny thing in our business too, man. You just no one cuts anybody slack on anything, ever. You know what I mean?
Well, Twitter's made it 1,000 times worse.
What's that?
There's Twitter's probably made it 1,000 times worse.
Of course, yeah, and it just begets negativity, and it's sometimes I have to remind myself with social media that as you read it, it's just all people reacting with passion, right? Their negativity is because they're passionate. They love this so much they're passionate about it. But it's the forum and the way it's said, and then people will say the worst thing in the world on Twitter as if, they make it sound like if you walked in a room and you were on fire, they would just walk away from you. But yet if they saw either one, Goldberg or Taker, they would be in awe and speechless. It's just the craziest. And the whole time you talk about, oh my God, you were an inspiration of my entire life. Really? Because you just crapped all over me on social media as if I wasn't there. So it's a weird thing, and it's hard to but it's today's world. It's hard to put it into words how people deal with it and the things that they say. It's like being isolated, except the whole world can hear everything else. I saw a comedian one time talk about how when you're in a car by yourself, people can do the littlest thing and you will wish them death. You know what I mean? Like in the most aggressive and violent way possible, because you're by yourself in that world. But if they were in front of you, you would never say any of those things or do any of it, because I don't know why it's that isolation. Twitter seems like that. You're all by yourself.
I'm crazy.
Yeah, tweeting away, and then but if that person was there or there were other people in the room, it's different.
Look, there's one thing I always wanted to ask you, and this is 10-year-old me, 10-year-old Alex McCarthy hated Triple H, and I know you're going to take that as a compliment. But I was a huge rock fan. This is around 2000.
Yeah.
We're talking.
Sorry for beating his ass so much.
You're not. And look at that time, and I think the heat you had at that point in the business, incredible. The Rock, his superstardom, that stratosphere is rarely touched as well. Do you think it's kind of a double-edged question? In today's business, it's hard to bring the heat, the level of heel that you were then today, and the same for The Rock. Is it a case that you two were just special, which there's no doubt you two are the all-time greats, but is it just a case that you were that good for each other, the chemistry, or has the business changed where it's harder to become that heel and it's harder to become that top star?
Yeah, there's so many variables in that it's hard. Part of when you look at me having that much heat, I had that much heat only because I had baby faces that were that over and that charismatic and that loved.
Well, I mean, that's the point I wanted to make as well. That's maybe the reason The Rock was so over, because he had you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It works both ways.
I mean, put it this way: if Darth Vader isn't what he is in the Star Wars movie, and I know dating my references, but like, are the good guys as good if the bad guy's not as bad, and vice versa? It's tough, and there are moments that are just magical times. We didn't realize it at the time. I don't think. I think we all just thought we were doing our thing and busy arguing with each other about who was going to be a bigger star. But it was just a magic moment in that business. And when you look at the who's who of who was there to work with at the time, I'm thankful for that time. I'm thankful to have The Rock and Stone Cold and Taker and Foley and everybody that was there. Nobody. That's the one crazy thing about this business. There's not one self-made person in this company. There's never been one self-made person in this business. This business is much more almost of a team than anything else you will ever see, because one without the other does not work.
Yeah.
Right? You're only as good as the guy in the ring with you. He's or she is only as good as the person that they're in there with. The moments in time, those moments of competitiveness, the moment that society is at about how people feel about competitiveness or just being happy to be there, all those things play in factors. But I was incredibly lucky through that entire time of my career to have this group around you that just you almost can't help but succeed.
I know you was meant to face The Rock at, is it WrestleMania 32, I believe? I think that was simple. Again, childhood me would have gone crazy for that. It was tentatively agreed, I guess. What kind of went wrong there?
Scheduling, from I think, I don't remember the details of it, but it was one of those things that was, we had talked, Rock and I talked about doing, to the point where we even did the backstage promo. We were like, let's throw a seed out here and see what happens. And we did, and it blew up. And of course, then we talked about it some more. And then scheduling just got in the way. But it really wasn't until much later. At that point, we were over a year away from that WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until maybe 3 or 4 months before in the following year, in the lead up as we got to WrestleMania, that Rock was like, man, it's just not going to work. I just can't. All my stuff, my movies, my everything has changed. I just can't make it work anymore. So it was what it was.
Yeah.
I would have loved to do it. It would have been a blast to step in there with him one more time and tear it up. The cool thing about when you get to the place where I'm at in my career, you sort of appreciate the moments more. When you're busy doing it, you appreciate it, but you're in the thick of it, and it's tough when you get later and you start to realize, like, then these moments come now and then. There might not be more. Like, you can sort of appreciate the moment more. It's a lot more difficult. You put a lot more pressure on yourself too when you don't do this a lot. But to kind of sort of go back in time, to have the match last year with Batista.
I was just about to say, that must have been that.
Yeah, when Dave called to ask me about doing that, and we spoke about it, it was, I think for both of us, just an ability to go back in time, but at a point where we could really both appreciate it and just do that again, kind of relive that moment, but do it again, and then try to go out there and do it in a way where you don't embarrass yourself, but it's I think even more special now when you have the opportunity to do it in that manner. So stepping out there with Rock, for me, which there's guys I look at in my career, it was so competitive at the time for all of us, but I don't know that I had more fun. Not many guys I had more fun in the ring with. I worked with him so much and so many times. When, from him being Rocky Maivia and me being Hunter Hearst Helmsley, all the way through, just kept going back to each other, and it was always magic. I felt like, and you know, I felt like we both had that comfort level with each other, where it was just easy to get in the ring and just go and have a blast doing it and create something special. So to do it again would have been awesome, but sometimes not the cards.
I totally agree with you. I mean, in 2000, you must have faced each other 1,000 times and nobody was bored.
Yeah, you know, it's one of the things that people ask you regrets, and it's not really a regret. It's just one of those things that I wish we had the chance to do in 2000 when we did the Fatal 4-Way match. At WrestleMania. That was originally supposed to be Rock and I believe, if I remember correctly, he might remember too. I believe we were supposed to do an Iron Man match. It was the original scheduled match at Mania. Timing of returns and everybody else's stuff, and they needed to get us through another pay-per-view. It's why we did the 4-Way and then came back and did the Iron Man match later. And, yeah. So it changed the thing, but I really wish I'd had that opportunity with him one-on-one at WrestleMania, because we had done so much together. Having that one-on-one would have been special.
Yeah. Before we wrap up here, I just want to get a thought from you, I guess, to the UK fans and how you feel NXT UK has been going. Tell them the stars that you're excited about, them getting to see, and why they should be, if they haven't already, be tuning into WWE Network.
Yeah, I mean, I think the NXT UK brand for me is really exciting in that I was, you know, as we were creating the US version and really digging deep into that, you know, seeing what was happening in the UK and what they were kind of making, what people like Pete Dunne and Tyler and Trent and just all the people that were over here were making kind of sort of happen, the scene that they were creating on their own, without really assistance, without, you know, sometimes it would amaze me when we would get here and we'd be talking to talent, like, oh, they just figured this stuff out. Like, you tell them something, be like, oh, I never heard that before. And like, man, they just figured this out on their own. Like, they just were watching and decoding it, so to speak, and then doing their own thing. It was amazing how far they'd gotten. So to be able to then come here and say, we're gonna take what you're doing and just open this thing up to the world and make it so much bigger. To see that excitement level in them, and then to see them step up to that challenge, and the sponge that they would have somebody actually come to them and say, what if you tried this? And then might help, right? And then the light bulb, to see that change and see them come back, oh my God, you know, the performers that they become, what this brand has become, really proud of it. And now to see it growing into a sort of another generation, you know, of the Walters and the Tony Storms and the Piper Nivens and, you know, just all the people that are now cycling in here and wanting to be a part of it. And it's really exciting, and I'm excited for this brand as this takeover takes place tonight in Cardiff. It just opens the door. Next year we'll be doing more of these here, you know, with them being a part of USA, it just continues to open the door, and this continues to grow. And every step of it so far has been overwhelmingly successful, and I just can't wait for those next steps, because what's happening here really is globally known now.
Yeah.
When I go, there's no place that I go in the world where I don't do these kind of interviews where they're not asking me about NXT and NXT UK. That's awesome. And I think it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. So I look forward to that opportunity for all of them.
Well, you look forward to that. I look forward to tonight. I can't wait to, you know, sell out crowd, NXT UK's second takeover. Thank you very much for joining us today. Very excited, and thank you very much.